Hey there, happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. And it's a time where we can relax and craft together for about an hour here in the evening. And I work on projects from beginning to end so you can be part of the whole process along the way. And I love chit-chatting with you guys every evening, and it's just a fun, relaxing time. So thanks again for joining me. Last night, well, first of all, we are working on the Splendid Sampler 2 quilt along again here. We're approaching halfway through. There's 100 different blocks here. Tonight we're working on the Hello Sunshine block by Pat Sloan. So cute! All right, so we have the center area finished. We did this last night. This is our foundation paper piecing. Looking good. So tonight we are going to do some applique, some raw edge applique. So we'll be using some Steam-A-Seam 2 double stick fusible web, and I'll show you how to use that tonight. And we are gonna get these cute little sunshine shapes. We'll get the circle in the middle, and we'll get these little the sun rays tonight. So I think probably after tonight, all we'll have left to do is the embroidery on the face, and that won't take long at all either. So this is a nice, quick, fun block. It's on page 64 if you guys have your book. And last night's video was the first video for this, so you can go check that out on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies if you want to do the whole thing with us. So, all right, thanks again, guys, for being here. I'm going to flip you around. Let's get working. Okay. I have my trusty light table out here tonight as well, because we are going to trace our applique. So I made a photocopy of this. Actually, the Hubs did. He helped me last night. He made a photocopy of this for me. This is our applique shapes, and it is also our guide for embroidery. So that's this cute little stitches in the mouth and the eyes there. So I was looking at this though, and it says patterns do not include seam allowance and are reversed for fusible applique. And I was checking this out, and how it looks on the image, it doesn't look reversed, does it? So I think maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's supposed to be reversed. So when I trace it, I'm going to trace it like this. So I'll have my light table on, and I'll be able to see the lines. I'm hoping I can do it that way, because for the raw edge applique technique, you want to start with the reversed image. So I don't know, let me know if you guys worked on this yet and if you ran into the same thing. I mean, the circle really doesn't matter, right? Because it's a circle, but these rays, you know, if I look really closely, it looks like it's not reversed. So I'm gonna just do that reverse for us here. And you know, they're just like sun rays. If you ended up with the opposite of what this is, it's still gonna look super cute. So all right, let's shush this to the side. All right, I'm gonna get my light table out. So this is just like a little flat light table. I got this ages ago, but they are so nice and thin now. I mean, when I got this, I thought this was so thin and cool, but now they come like almost paper thin for like $1 bajillion cheaper too. So you can, I don't know if I put a link to that there, but on the post here, but if you're interested in a light table, you can get them for like $20 or so on Amazon for even a bigger size than this. And they do come in handy. All right, I'm gonna get some Steam-A-Seam out. So we're gonna do this a little differently than we normally do, and I think you're gonna like the result. I think I'm gonna like the results. So all right, I need a piece for the circle. I'm gonna use this scrap here. It looks just big enough, and then I need a piece for the background. So we'll be starting a new piece here. All right, I'm gonna grab my pencil. All right, so let's turn on the light table. First thing we wanna do is trace these shapes onto our fusible. So sometimes for this fusible, this is the Steam A Seam 2. Let me show you guys that again. So Steam A Seam 2. And the neat thing about this in particular is that not only do both sides fuse to the fabric, and that's with an iron, you can use your iron and it'll fuse directly to the fabric. The other benefit of this is that it's actually a sticker. So before you fuse it, this is actually sticky, so you can really place items, and you can place a bunch of items on top of each other and they won't move while you're rearranging your applique. So that's really nice. So that's why I like the Steam A Seam so far. So let's give this a go. I'm going to turn the light table on, and like I said, I'm going to flip it around. Hopefully I can see through this yet. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, though. Just barely. All right, so I'm going to trace this circle. And you know, again, with the circle, I didn't really need to flip this to make it reverse. Because it's a circle, it's going to be the same either way, but this will be like practice for the other one. So I'm going to trace directly on the line. Oh, it's actually easier to see the line. I have bright lights shining in here right now, and if I turn those off, then I can totally see this line. So when my hand shades it, I can see it a lot better. There, you can kind of see it there. Yeah, I don't know if I missed any of you guys saying that. Gina, I could trace it all on one piece and cut apart, but I thought I'd try and use up this scrap that I have. So if you're just going on this, for sure, draw them both on the same page. Man, I wonder if I should do it on the same page. Then I wouldn't be, in theory, wasting as much. Oh, you know what? There is a reason that I'm not doing it on the same page. So you can see there's not... We need... for this particular technique, I need a little bit of edge on this way, and I need a little bit of edge this way on either side, and I don't have enough. You know, if I trace this, I don't have enough edge on this side of the circle or on this side of like the indents of these sun rays. So I am going to trace them separately for this particular, for that reason. And I think I can show you that a little bit better once we do have it traced on both. But yeah, I am going to do them separately. And you know, I'm actually not going to use this entire piece, so I will have some leftover that I can save as well. So all right, so that's our first piece, and now I'm going to trace that outline. We need to save this as well because we'll be tracing that smiley face a little bit later. All right, so let's... Man, my Steam A Seam is really wrinkly. There we go, kind of flattened it out there. All right, let's trace this. And again, I need to leave like a little bit of an edge, like an 1/8 inch or so edge on there. Oh, thanks, Deborah. This is my Make It So Star Trek t-shirt. And it's funny, if you guys follow Sarah Lawson from So Sweetness, I see that she has a version of this shirt too. So if you guys are familiar at all with Star Trek, the Next Generation, so this is super nerdy now, but Star Trek, the Next Generation, there's the captain and then the first officer, and whenever the captain like says an order before everyone else does the order, he says "make it so." And in the drawing on my blue shirt that I'm wearing, it's him, the captain, handing the first officer a sewing machine, and he's saying "make it so," S-E-W. Anyway, I like it. It's some nerd humor and some sewing humor together. What's not to like about that? All right, we're going here, almost done. Yep, Glennis, we are doing raw edge applique. So this is a block by Pat Sloan, and she's one of the authors of the book, but she does a lot of raw edge applique. And raw edge just meaning that it's fused down and the actual edge of the fabric is exposed. It's not tucked under. So, eventually, like in theory, if we wash this a bajillion hundred times, it will get a little bit soft and frayed in theory over time. But it's a nice, easy way of doing applique, and it's a kind of a neat look too. All right, there we go. All right, that's our cute little sun rays. So for now, we can move all this to the side. So that wasn't hard at all. Again, I don't know if anyone said anything. I just missed it. I don't think that they actually reversed this pattern in the template. It looks not reversed. So I reversed it for us by just flipping it around. For raw edge applique, you typically want to trace the reversed. All right, so we're gonna grab, hopefully, a paper scissors. Good, haha, got my paper scissors. Okay, now we're gonna cut out our shapes, but we are not cutting right on the line. We are gonna cut just outside the line, about an 1/8 inch. You can go up to like a 1/4 inch or so, but the point is we do not want to draw, or we don't want to cut exactly on that line. We want to cut that line when it's fused to the paper. So, or to the fabric. After it's fused to the fabric, then we will be really careful and really cut that on that line really, really well. Ooh, and I don't know if you noticed the blue shirt that I'm wearing. It has short sleeves. I have no sleeves right now, which is a new concept for me. It has been a while, but today it was in the 80s, and tomorrow it's supposed to be like 89 degrees or some crazy town temperature like that. So that's a nice change. I'm gonna try and soak it up, get super, super warm and muggy and unbearable, and that'll be good. Oh, one of your blocks is quilted upside down. Oh no, Dawn. All right, and since I'm gonna cut out these shapes better once I get it onto fabric, I'm not so worried about like a perfect edge or anything here. I don't want the edge, this seam allowance that I'm doing, or the little beyond the edge. I don't want it too big because then I'm kind of wasting that fabric and wasting this steam seam too fusible. So I'm still getting kind of close to that edge, to the line, but I'm not worrying too much about it being perfect or anything. The perfect comes later when we cut out the fabric. It's good to have those types of things in a quilt, Dawn, I think. Adds the personality to it, the little fun mistakes. Okay, so we are going to do one more step compared to what we usually do when we do the raw edge applique. And this is a tip from Pat, again, the author and the maker of this block. What she does, so instead of putting this whole entire piece of fusible onto the fabric, because then you have all this stiffness and everything, she cuts out the inner part. So we're going to do that here. And then I'll actually have this excess. And you know what? I think maybe I'll stab it with this little embroidery scissors. So I'm going to go over like 1/4 of an inch or so. Just stab in there. And I'm going to cut out the center of this. All right, now I'll switch to the big paper scissors. So you only need a little bit of the fusible to actually attach it to the fabric. And so this kind of saves the fusible, and it's going to make it easier to sew, especially since we have to do embroidery. And I know we have struggled trying to stitch embroidery through this Steam-A-Seam 2 before, so I definitely don't want to do that now. So I'm excited about this, that I won't have to stitch through it. And look, this piece we'll totally use later. So I'm going to save this with the rest of my Steam-A-Seam 2. And there we go. So this is all ready to fuse to my shape here for the, this will be the face of the sun. So that guy's done. Let's do this one as well. So again, I'm going to just kind of get 1/4 inch or so on the inside of the line now. Oh, you finished your sunshine. Nice, Robin. And now you're going to work on Happy Days. Oh, we just did that one. What was that one? Happy Days. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot what the happy... I know we did it because I feel like that's familiar to me, but I forget what that one looks like. Ooh, this is kind of a little difficult to cut out. Get around these shapes. Again, this doesn't need to be so perfect, but you know, you may actually feel it or see it just a hair. So I do want it to be a little nicer. I don't want to like just cut around. So there's big chunks here. I do want to get in on here. So I'm just doing 1/4 inch around here again. Oh, happy trails with the horse. Oh, did I say Happy Days? Is Happy Days a different block, or was it Happy Trails? Maybe that's what I have on my brain. Happy Trails with the horsey. So my mom used that Craft Tex paper for her horse like we did, and she's washed her quilt and it turned out just really sweet. So it did hold up in the wash, and it looks really great. Yes, a different block. Okay, yeah, so there is a Happy Days block or something. Oh, I'll have to pull out all the blocks again. All right. There we go. Again, this is a nice big piece that we can use later. All right. So next up, oops, starting to get messy here again. I saved that piece of fabric that I wanted to use for the sun a little bit earlier. So I'm going to start by fusing this to this little piece of fabric here. I do want to heat up my iron though. Let's see, I'm just reading through the instructions quick again. Trace the sun rays in the outer circle, center. Okay, well, we did all that. Fuse the sun rays to the wrong side of the yellow floral. That's this. Following the manufacturer's instructions. Okay. Fuse the sun center to the wrong side of the pieced unit, and then cut out on the drawing lines. Okay, so that's good. That's the next step for both of these. All right. I think iron's heating up yet. This we pressed already, so this we could prep. So I'm putting the wrong side down, or the right side down. The sun covers the seam allowance. See if the sun covers the seam allowance before you fuse. Okay, so I think we're good there. See that the sun covers the seam allowance. I think we should be fine. So it's raw edge, so this should be good. All right, I am going to stick this down. So I'm going to pull off the side that doesn't have my drawing on. So sometimes you might not actually have this on your fusible web. My Steam-A-Seam 2 has it because it's protecting the stickiness, because remember the Steam-A-Seam 2 acts as a sticker as well. Oop, it's coming off. Oh, my hands are stuck to it. So let's just get it down here. There we go. Oop, I went a little outside the line there. See, that's the nice thing about this is I can pick it up and move it and then stick it down exactly where I want it. Put the circles on the rays and see if it covers. The circles, well, I'm not going to cut, I don't think I'm going to cut out this inside piece. So I don't think that'll be a problem. Here, let's just finish sticking this down first, and then I'll take a look at it. All right, again, another nice thing is that I can just pick this up before I fuse it if I want. But yeah, the circle, I mean, should be fine. We're going to fuse this to here, cut it out, and then I'm going to fuse this whole thing to this. I don't think I'm going to cut out the center here, so we should be fine. I think the fabric won't have the center cut out, just less glue. Exactly what Lucy says. All we're doing, remember, all we're doing here is making glue. I think that's a good way of thinking about it. All we're doing is fusing, or what ultimately we're doing is I want to cut this shape out perfectly, and we're going to get that here, and I also want to glue it to another piece of fabric. So that's what we're doing. This is a fusible applique. So this is a two-step process. We're going to glue this down. Well, 3 steps, I suppose. We're going to glue this to our fabric. We're going to cut it perfectly, and then we're going to glue it onto our background fabric. So that's kind of the plan here. So I'm gonna press this first. Raise on the circle to cover it. Robin, I'm still not quite understanding what you mean. Like I'm not turning it under the edge under or anything. So I don't, like it's still raw edge. Okay, so I'm going to stick this on now. So again, the right side is down. I'm gonna stick this to the back. And this is why we needed it reversed, because when we flip it back this way, then it will be going the correct way. So that's why we originally wanted this reversed. All right, so let's take that edge off. Ooh, see, sometimes the one side wants to come off easier than the other. Oh, but what I was saying earlier is sometimes when you buy a fusible web, that's what this is called, like a, oop, geez, look, it's coming off. Sometimes it only has the one side fused to the paper, not the both. Oh, this is not being nice to me. Here, I'm gonna actually rip this. There we go. Maybe we can gently take it off in pieces. It's wanting to come up from the other side of the paper. You know what? It is so humid today. I wonder if it's affecting this at all. I need the other paper to stay on because I need that paper before I can iron this. Because I need to iron on the paper, not the glue, because I don't want that glue on my iron. So we're just gonna gradually go around the edge here. Put the circle on the rays and see if I have gaps. Gaps where? Like there will be. Put the circle on the rays and see if you have gaps. There will be some, like there'll be gaps around the rays.
I don't know. We're just gonna go with it, and maybe Robin, maybe I'll understand as we go, and it can be a mistake that I figure out. I don't know, but for now, I'm just gonna try and get this on here. There. So yeah, so then this guy will ultimately go on the front of it. It should be fine. I'm not sure. You should visit Atlanta, then you'll understand humidity. Yeah, I'm sure. It can get up to 100% humidity here in summers. All right, now I'm going to actually do the fuse. So I am going to, so it is stuck on there, but if you're using a different fusible than the Steam-A-Seam 2, you'll have to actually iron it to get it to stay. And when I iron it, that's what's going to make it permanent on here. So I am going to press this on. And I just need to hold it there for a few seconds. And I'll be pressing this again later. I'm a little nervous about this getting on my iron. We may have to do like a little cleaning, iron cleaning one of these days. There's so many special ways to clean an iron, and I, like just suggestions from people, and I've always kind of wanted to give some of them a try. All right, fusing down the circle. Because it does feel like I may have a little glue on here. It's not sliding over this very easily, but I think it's not looking so dirty, is it? Just a little. Enough to like maybe give it a try to clean it. But all right, so we have our two shapes fused to the back. Oh, your favorite is fabric sheets. So I've heard that, Dawn, doing fabric sheets on the bottom, like ironing fabric sheets or just rubbing. Is it rubbing? Oh, Sarah Lawson did an experiment with iron cleaners. Oh, I'm going to have to look at that. All right, so I am going to trim out this circle. So now, remember when we drew the line on there? I can still see the line now that this is fused. Now is the time when I am going to cut right on the line. And this is where I have to get perfect. So not perfect, but this is where I'm going to actually care. So, all right, so I'm going to just go slowly around this circle right on that line. And I'm going to go extra slow because we're cutting through a lot of seam allowances. Because remember, this is that foundation paper pieced block that we did yesterday. So we got some seams here to deal with too. And you know what? I just realized we did not cut out our background piece yet too. So we have to do that. So you guys are all scared that I'm doing something wrong here, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I totally might be. I am not ruling that out whatsoever, because that happens for sure. Sometimes I see you guys just like are screaming no at me, and then I do the thing wrong, and then I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. So we'll see how this goes. Oh, eucalyptus oil. I may actually have some of that. So you just use the eucalyptus oil, I'm assuming, when it's a cool iron and everything. All right, and there we go. So that's super cute. So look, there is our circle shape. Ooh, with a fuzzle stuck. So awesome. So this is going to be our happy sunshine. You know what? Now I think I will quickly, since I have this shape here, let's trace that embroidery design on. So now is the point where once you have this cut out, you can see the embroidery. So now it's a good thing that this is not in reverse, because I'm going to line up all our little lines the best I can. I think that looks fine. And we are going to, I'm going to grab a water-soluble marker, and let's just draw this smiley face. I think it was actually this way. I'm not sure, actually. I think as long as it's kind of going in that direction, it'll still be cute. There, I think about like that. All right. Smiley face. Where are those eyes? Way up here. Just gonna double check. But yeah, up there and up there. Okay. It's a little hard to see through my fabric. All right, right there and right there. And the smiley. So this is what we're gonna embroider later, once we get it all fused down. Cute! All right. And a cotton wipe or tissue. Okay, cold iron, eucalyptus oil. Okay, I'm gonna give that a try. I think I have some eucalyptus oil. I'll have to check. All right, ugh. Need help picking this up again. All right, done with the light table and done with this guy too. Looks like a happy little moon right now. All right, so let's trim this out as well. And then maybe I'll get what you guys are saying here. Actually, I'm gonna trim around the fabric first just so I don't have to hold on to that extra fabric. There we go, get that out of here. So I'm actually, any piece that has the fusible on, I'm gonna toss that because I don't wanna accidentally get that fusible on my iron later. So like if there's a scrap with it, I'm not gonna use it. So I'm actually gonna just trim this and this, and then everything that I cut away, I'm gonna toss. Cut too much of the rays for the circle to cover it. Oh, I'm not cutting the fabric out. I don't actually need to cover up this. So I don't need the circle to cover up all of this. This is just, it's like I'm using some glue around the edges. So it's gonna be fine like this, I think. Oh, are you just saying so it's not super visible when it's sewn down? Because, I suppose that makes sense. Because it will be fused to the edges. So, you'll be able to tell that the edge is fused, and then it stops being fused as it goes to the middle. Like, you will be able to tell that. So, if I extended this inside to the circle, then I think maybe... But then you'd be able to see it on the circle, so... I don't know. I think we're gonna be okay. But doing it this way is going to allow us to embroider through this, because remember, we've done some other embroidery things with this fusible, and it is so hard. I actually poked my finger that one time. We bled on one of the blocks. I'm excited about this technique just for the sake of the embroidery being easy, because we're actually going to embroider through both of these pieces of fabric. And we have the background fabric, so I have to cut out the background fabric yet. I'm cutting a little too much away here, but I think we're going to be okay. Gotta stick to the line. Guess my hand cutting skills aren't up to snuff tonight. I always kind of think of this. I know I've told this story before, but I always think about it when I'm cutting things slowly with the scissors like this. But in kindergarten, I was cutting out paper like some shape on paper, and I was moving the scissors around, cutting out the shape, and the teacher said, "Move the paper, not the scissors." And that was a memorable aha moment for me. Like, I still remember that being a total epiphany in kindergarten, that I should be moving the paper and not the scissors. And that still pops in my head anytime I'm doing something like this. Got a little kind of flaw in this fabric here, but I think we're going to cover it up with the circle. I think we're going to be good there. Oops. I just recut a piece, and you know, I want to be careful on these edges, because remember, these edges are going to be exposed, so I don't want to like recut it. Oh, you teach Lila that trick with her scissors too. Oh, funny. Yep, I just remember that for some reason that is a distinct memory of an aha moment. All right, there we go. Now we can start seeing what this is going to look like. Oh, for cute. All right. Oh my gosh, that was a total Minnesota, Wisconsin phrase just then. Oh, for cute. All right, I'm just going to look at this again just to kind of see where it goes. There we go. Up like that. And our little smiley will go right in the center like that. Ah, it's cute. All right, love it. Well, next, we are going to fuse this to our background fabric, which doesn't exist yet. So let's trim that. I haven't done that part yet. So I'm going to do it on, my background's going to be white fabric. Let's move these over here. So we need a 7-inch square out of here. Ultimately, we'll be cutting our final square down to 6.5 inches. But when we're dealing with applique and dealing with embroidery, you're handling it a lot, and sometimes each stitch pulls on the fabric. So our edges might actually shrink up a hair, and that's why we're starting with a little bit larger than than we normally would. A little bit larger than our 6.5 inches. Okay, I need a bigger ruler for this. Let's grab my big square ruler. Okay, here we are. So this looks pretty square, this bottom edge already. So I'm not going to worry about it being perfect, because like I said, we are going to ultimately trim this down to 6.5 inches. So if this is not a perfect, if this isn't a perfectly square edge right now, it's not going to matter all that much. All right, 7 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I always have to count on this ruler because I don't know, I always second guess myself on this ruler. Oh, and this is a 1/2 inch, so let's turn it around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm always, for some reason, scared that the inch means the other direction. I don't know. It's dumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I gotta count. All right, let's trim. I will get my cutting glove out again for this. I'm trying to make it more of a habit to be a little safer when I cut. All right. Oh, you remember the important information. You remember your tongue sticking out as you cut. That's funny. I did, when we started free motion quilting here, my tongue was literally doing that too, Terry. Like, it was, you know, someone had to tell me to breathe, which apparently is a common thing that you have to remember when you free motion quilt. I've heard that in more places since, but I think that first time that someone told me to remember to breathe here, I realized that my tongue was literally sticking out like a cartoon. It's just so bizarre. Okay, here's our background. So we are going to kind of center this. One thing that will help us center it is I'm going to just put a little tick marks on the edges. So I'm folding in half and just giving it a little finger press there so you can see the points there, and I'm going to go the other way as well. We'll press this so those lines won't be there forever. Okay. Get all the fuzzles out of there. All right, we are ready to fuse this down now. So what I'm going to do, I suppose first we could fuse let's fuse the front piece to the side piece. And you know what? I think I'm going to use my little guide here again. I think the sun, let's just kind of remember how the sun is angled. I think like that will be cute. Actually, I can actually just take the paper off of the fusible now. So I'm just picking at the fusible here. Oh, I'm going to pick it up. That'll be easier. So we have that second side of paper on our fusible. So I'm going to take that off. There we go. So there we go. Our fusible, you can see it right on the edge. That is our fusible webbing. That is what's going to glue it to the next piece here. And luckily with this Steam-A-Seam 2, it acts as a sticker as well. So I'm going to just stick this. So it was about kind of like that, don't you think? Ooh, it was angled a little bit more. There! So that's pretty cute. So I'm going to just press it down to stick it in place. And now you could fuse it at this point, like bring it back to the iron and fuse it, but yeah, if I fuse first, I am going to have to embroider through 3 pieces of fabric, but I'm not too worried about that. It's easy to go through fabric with embroidery. It's more difficult, I think, to go through that fusible, so I'm not worried about going through the 3 layers of fabric. But you could embroider this first. I think in the instructions, it's embroidered last after it's stitched down. And I think, if I had to guess, the reason for that is because then we're protecting the raw edge a little bit as we handle it for the embroidery. So I think I'm going to do the embroidery last through all 3 layers of fabric. So all right, we got this. And so you could fuse this now. And but I'm going to, since I am using that Steam-A-Seam 2 that sticks, it's already stuck there for me, so I'm going to take this second piece off, and I'm going to fuse these at the same time onto the background. All right, so I'm going to just carefully pull this off. Ooh, it's stuck there, kind of funny. Huh. All right, so this is, again, just like having glue along the edges. There's none of that on the inside here. All right, so all right, it's about at this angle. So I'm just gonna hold that at this angle, get this straight. And now we're just gonna kind of try and center it here. Just move it around until it's right where you like it. Oh my God, it is so cute. Ah, it's cute. All right, I think that looks good. Oh, I kind of want to make sure that the circle is what's centered though, because I think your eye is going to notice if the circle is centered or not. I think that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to just push it down. If you don't have the Steam-A-Seam 2, so if you don't have the sticker capability, you're going to have to carefully move this to the iron or actually lay it out on the ironing pad or ironing board from the get-go, because then you can just bring your iron down on it right away. But since this is the Steam-A-Seam 2, it sticks like a sticker. I can move it around however I want. All right, so let's bring it to the iron and fuse, fuse, fuse. All right, let's get it on here. And we are gonna stitch this to our background today yet. I might change threads. I'm not sure. Okay, some people have said that ironing over the water-soluble marker makes it so it doesn't come out. I have not actually tested that, so I suppose you could press around the edge here because remember our fusible is only on the edge. But I think I've already pressed it. I feel like my iron's a little slow moving today, which makes me think it's either not heated up all the way or I got it a little bit dirty. But there we are. There it is, fused down. Okay, so next up, we are going to stitch this down. And I think I might change threads because I switched thread colors because we were using this for the triangle tango quilt, but I think it might be a little dark for what I want here. So I'm gonna switch back to our light colored thread that we've been using for this so far. And I also have a light color bobbin. So let's do that switch. I think I might try a little zigzag stitch around this whole thing. In the book, it recommends a blanket stitch, like turning your machine, the dials on your machine, so it does the blanket stitch. My machine's not that fancy. I do not have a blanket stitch built into my sewing machine. So I'm gonna just do a cute little zigzag stitch. So let's switch threads and give that a try. I do wanna test it on a little piece first, but I think we're gonna do that little zigzag stitch instead. And that was pretty popular for a lot of appliques. I think like in the 70s and 80s and stuff, so I think it'll end up being super cute still. All right, so let's switch this bobbin thread. Ooh, bobbin. Ooh, gosh, we did use a lot of that thread though. We wound a whole new bobbin for that triangle tango quilt. Wow, that is a lot less thread than should be on there. Oh, so I didn't know that Schmetz made a no-stick applique needle. Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, we'll see how this does. Let's see how sticky or not sticky this is. Again, it is pretty humid, so if it is going to stick, now would probably be a day for it to do that. Just thread my needle here quick. I can get this on. It's about time for me to change this needle anyway, I think. So if it gets all gunky from the fusible, I'm not going to worry too much about it. Oh, you did a zigzag on the first piece you appliqued? Oh, cool. Yeah, I think it's really cute. Especially for like such a sweet little design like this sunshine. I think it's going to be really nice. All right, I want to do a little test though, so let's find a little piece of scrap fabric laying around here. All right, we have a couple pieces that I trimmed earlier. All right, so I'm going to change. Ooh, so I can't do it. I don't have a zigzag foot on here. I have just my my 1/4 inch foot. And if you look at this, let me just take the foot off. If you look at this, I only have this amount of space to go back and forth in. So a different foot, let's see if I can find one near me. Oh, I don't see mine, but a different foot might have a larger space to do a larger zigzag. But luckily, I don't really want a super big zigzag. So I'm gonna only make the zigzag go within this circle. So let's see if I can manage that. Otherwise I gotta find my zigzag foot and it's not jumping out at me, which makes me think I'm gonna have to dig for it. So let's just try with this. But yes, a zigzag foot would be better because it gives me a larger space. But let's just go. So I'm going to make my stitch length go way down so that my stitches are close together. So I'm going to do that first. And then let's do some tests. So I've put the zigzag at a size 1 right now. I'm going to go slow because I don't want it to accidentally hit the edge. Oh gosh, I don't know if that even did anything. Hold on here. It should. I'm gonna make my stitch length less. Ooh, weird, it's still going just straight up and down. Let's go a little bit wider. Oh, there we go, I can already see it. I can see the needle move left and right. Here, let me get you guys way down in there and you can kind of see what's happening. So, all right. Sorry, this is a little bit weird, but here you can see my finger behind it. Yeah, let me put a little piece of paper there. I'll just put, oops, sorry. I want to put like a light piece of fabric there behind it so you can see. So if I make my stitch width bigger, see how it moves the needle? So this is at 0, right in the middle. And as I get bigger, that's how wide it's going to end up being. So you can see the needle move to the left here. Oh, you've broken so many needles by forgetting to put the zigzag foot on. So I'm going to try and do just a little itty bitty zigzag. So I think about right there. I'm not going to be hitting the edge. Ah, maybe I should. Oh, I know, I found it. Well, fine. Let's do it right, you guys. Let's get the thing out. I think you're right. Oh gosh, I just dumped a pile of them. All right, let's take a look at the feet. I do have a zigzag foot. That's what my machine originally came with, was a zigzag foot. I just lost a pile of things in here though. All right, I don't know if that's where these go. Let's find a something that will work for a zigzag foot. So most of these actually will work. I think this is meant more for like vinyl or something so it slips. But, you know, it is a little wider, so that would work. It's got to be one that's meant for zigzagging down here. Oh, right here. So I think this is kind of like a zigzag foot right there. So see how it's a little bit wider? Let's try that. I know, you guys, this was not actually that expensive. There's a whole pile of these. If you go on Amazon and just look for different feet, one day I'm going to learn all these. So that's actually one of the things I'd love to do here sometime is just go through all of these. I've actually used quite a few. You know, this can make a little binding strips and everything. So we're going to do a whole day of that, I think. All right, fine. We are switching feet. You guys are right. I shouldn't risk it, I don't think. All right, so let's lift the foot up and release that foot. And actually, when I got these feet, my machine is older. It does not just clip on to little flat things like that. So it actually came with a adapter that fits my machine so I can just use all these little flat feet like that. All right, so we're gonna use this guy instead. See, he has a much bigger space for a zigzag right there to go back and forth. There, good. I'm glad I helped you out. There is a map. Yes, Glennis, there is a map on the back of what each foot is, but I don't know what anything means. So like they could say something on the back and I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that does. So it is something. See, like now I can have the needle go all the way to the side. So this is as big as, woo, back and forth. So that's as big as I can make my stitch. Let's see what that looks like. I think that's going to be too big. It's actually sucking in this piece of fabric quite a bit. So it's pretty big. This probably wasn't the best piece to practice on either. And actually, so here's the stitch length. The stitch length made the stitches go really close to each other. I think I'm going to open that up a little bit more. I kind of like when it's a wider zigzag, when you can tell it's a zigzag. It's not a perfect, perfect satin stitch. So I'm going to make it a little further apart so you can actually see the zigzags, and I'm going to make this smaller. I'm going to put it on 3 instead of 4. All right, let's see what this looks like. All right, I feel better with this this foot on as well. All right, see, so I made the stitches a little further apart so you can see the actual zigzag. I think I'm gonna kind of go in the middle. I think that's maybe too much. And they're a little closer together. I'm gonna go a little smaller, I think. And you know what? We're just gonna go for it. You feel better too? Okay, good, Shirley. All right, so I'm gonna start with the circle just because I think it's gonna be a little easier. And let's see, I could center my zigzag, or I could put the zigzag towards the middle of the, I think I'm gonna do that. So let's see what the farthest way over is gonna be. So that's like right here. I'm gonna keep the satin stitch, the zigzag going towards the inside. So right now, it's the farthest over, the needle's the farthest over to the right as it's gonna be, and that's gonna be kind of my guide. All right, let's give it a go. Oh, it's gonna be cute. All right, so I'm just going slow around here. So again, I'm doing a little zigzag here. First of all, I think it looks cute, but second of all, I don't have a blanket stitch function on my sewing machine. That's for new sewing machines that have all those fancy stitches. That is one, though, that I wish I did have because the blanket stitch is awfully cute. It mimics hand-embroidered blanket stitches, but oh my gosh, way easier. But for raw edge applique, it looks super sweet. So this takes a little bit longer than normal sewing because, I'm going back and forth. There's a lot more thread going in to the same amount of distance as just going straight around. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's so sweet looking. I can't wait to take this off and show you. So I'll show you, and then we'll move on to the sun rays, and we'll do the same thing. Oh, this makes me want to do more raw edge applique. It looks so cute. I am going slow just so I can keep an eye on that needle staying on my outer edge. All right, and I think that is that. All right, and I'm going to bring my threads to the back and tie them off, but look how cute it is. Oh my God, it is so sweet. So I love that I can see a little bit of the zigzag. I could have made that closer together if I wanted to make it more of a thick line satin stitch, but I like seeing the little zigzag there. Oh, I think it's darling. Was your inspiration to do this block the fabric you bought at Missouri Star Quilt? Shirley, someone here recommended or asked if I would do this one next. And then for that reason, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to, because it does look, let's see if I can find that fabric. It does look, oh, let's bring this stack out again. Hold on. Here are my stack of blocks for the Missouri Star Quilt Co. that triangle tango quilt, but look, here's the little stars. There are suns in here though. Oh, there we go. Here's the little sunshines. So this is a good transition back to the Splendid Sampler. I thought doing more of these cute little, not a cute little feller. But yeah, don't they just go together? My fabric here is just maybe a little paler, but same little cute guy. All right, you know what? I think I'm going to pull these threads to the back right now, and I'll show you what I mean for that. This is something new that I've been doing lately, but instead of back stitching these I'm pulling the threads to the back. Let's get my stiletto here to help. So I'm just kind of tugging on the back thread so I can see where the front threads come through, and I'm just pulling them to the back. Like it'll be a little loop, and I'm just pulling on that loop. Oops, I think I just undid that a little bit more. Oh, I got one more hanging here. Where are you? There we go. I think we're good now. All right, there. So now all my 4 threads are to the back, and I don't have any more on the front, and you can't hardly tell where the start and stop of this is. So what I'm going to just do is I'm going to just tie these to each other in the back here, and they're going to just hang out like that. So this is what I've been doing lately in applique instead of having that back stitching where you start and stop. I think this kind of holds things together just fine. And I like the look of it. I like not knowing where you started and stopped your applique. It's a little extra step, but I don't know. It feels fancy doing it. So all right, I'm going to snip those and let me tie the other 2. Oh, my hands are fumbly dealing with these little threads. Not like embroidery floss. I don't feel like I fumble so much with embroidery floss. I think it's just because it's fatter. All right, so let's snip those. All right, so that is our cute little circle. And you can see that's now all my edges are nice and down because, you know, some of these seam allowances were popping up just a little bit, but now with that stitch around it, it is all down. This looks like an old traditional, like cute little 70s baby quilt block. I love it. All right, so let's go around the outside here. Oh, wow, we're way over our time tonight, but I want to go over this outside yet tonight. So tomorrow we'll just do the embroidery. Unless you guys want to see this again tomorrow, should we go around this edge tomorrow? You know what? I think we will. I think let's go around this outer edge tomorrow because then we can do that and the little smiley and trim, I think all in the same day. I think that'll be good for one day. So I think let's call it an evening tonight, even though this is one of those blocks that you just want to keep going. But I think that circle was a nice way to end it here tonight. So you guys, I'm going to flip you around and we'll call it an evening here. Barbara, you think tomorrow's good? Yeah, because that's going to take a little while to go around that edge. Whoop, there. And then, you know, then you guys won't be stuck with me all night, right? So there we go. Look how cute that stitching is. All right, I'm really happy with that. And I like that size. So I'm gonna leave my machine right where it is at that like little less than the 3 marker for the width of it. I'm gonna leave my zigzag foot on. I'm gonna leave all that on. And you can't even tell, you know, you can't even tell where the fusible starts and stops, I don't think. So that's neat. So that's different than how we usually do it. I never really cut out the inside of the fusible before, but I think I'm gonna do that from now on because this is all just loose fabric. It doesn't have that stiffness of the fusible. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so tomorrow, you guys, we'll start off by sewing the edge around the rays, and we will do some embroidery. We'll embroider those cute little eyes and smiley and trim it down. We'll press it and trim it down to the 6.5 inches. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to trim it down. I'm not going to trim down the edges because I'm trying to keep a larger edge for the free motion quilting when we do the quilt as you go. Because remember, sometimes when you do all that work on something, it pulls towards the center and then you lose a little on the edge. So I'm gonna actually keep it big until I'm ready to sew it into the and for the free motion quilting. So we'll touch on that again when we get that far. So I won't trim it down, but I will do the rest of the applique and the embroidery tomorrow. So thanks again, you guys. It was nice hanging out with you. Please take a look at this on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies if you want to watch it again. And I will be here on the Penguin and Fish Facebook page tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central, which is 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. So thanks again, you guys. Have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.